Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we are looking at a cheap and cheerful offering from GearBest, the Cadisen C1032. Now, it's been getting some pretty good reviews from a variety of reviewers, so I thought I might as well get one in. This cost me $60 or about 45 quid. So what you get for it is pretty remarkable, to be fair. So without further ado, let's open it up. So they certainly haven't spared any cost or price on the opening process. It is pretty bog standard, pretty plain, a little bit of a blank guarantee certificate, which is nice and reassuring. A little bit there about water resistance as well. Let's chuck that over there. Here we go. Please read this manual before use. Yeah, I think I'll be okay. Thank you very much. But it's good to know they have a little manual there for those who may not be aware of automatic watches. Obviously, you have the watch itself, but first, it's worth noting they've provided this cute little tool for changing the strap if you do want to replace the bracelets. That's quite nice. So, boxing, plain, cardboard, nothing too exciting really. The watch itself then, this is the Cadisen C1032, and this is what $60 or 45 of your hard-worked money can get you. So remarkable things about this is, first of all, the price, obviously, but the two key things going for it are the fact that it's got sapphire crystal, which is a big tick, and then it's a Seiko NH36 automatic. So for this price point, it's pretty impressive, really. I'm not going to lie. So let's think about the specs first of all. Let me pop it on my slightly over 7-inch wrist. So what specs have we got? Well, we've got a nice size, 38mm in diameter, a lug-to-lug length of 47.5mm, and then a height of 11mm. So it is, as you can see, a dressed watch primarily, and I think the 38mm is a really, really nice size for me personally for dress watches, so it does fit me really well. It's pretty lightweight, 125 grams as well. It's lightweight, but not cheap feeling lightweight. You know, when you actually hold it in your hand and when you have it on your wrist, it does feel like an actual genuine watch. Believe it or not, for $60 you can get a genuine watch with a sapphire crystal and with the Seiko NH36 movement, which is pretty neat. So feels good on the wrist in terms of weight and size. Water resistance is 5 atmospheres or 50 meters. I would take that with a pinch of salt. I personally would definitely avoid getting this wet because you have very limited amount of protection, but also I don't really trust it. So it is just a push-pull crown, so chances are water will get in there. So definitely try and avoid getting any sort of moisture in or around the watch. 20mm lug width, so I think that fits perfectly with the size of the case as well. And as you can see, the bracelet itself looks like a fairly reasonable size in comparison to the size of the watch head as well. Warranty, I have no idea. I tried looking on the website, couldn't find anything about warranty for the watch on the watch page itself. Link is in the description of the video. You would hope and you would imagine that you'd get a year's warranty as you would with the normal purchase of any sort of product. So here's hoping you get a year's warranty, but I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of don't really help you out too much. And if it does break, then you might be stuck on your own a little bit. However, it is a Seiko NH36 movement, so chances are if there were any issues, it probably wouldn't be to do with the movement. It would be something else, like, I don't know, a hand falling off or an hour marker falling off, for instance. So hopefully, you know, it seems pretty reasonably well put together and well made, so I can't imagine you'd be getting too many issues with this watch. Finally, the movement then. Seiko NH36, as you can see. What specs do we have here with this movement? Well, it's 24 joules. It's 21.6 thousand beats per hour it runs at, so that's 6 ticks per second, so not as smooth as one that runs at 28.8 like a Swiss ETA, for instance. 42 hours power reserve, which is pretty reasonable. Hacking seconds hand and hand wind and automatic capabilities as well. Now, I have put this one on my Lepsy watch scope, and rather remarkably, it's coming at a pretty insane minus 3.8 seconds a day. So that's within COSC specs. So that is pretty amazing. Now, that, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's probably fluke that it's come out that accurate. However, I do hear a lot of reports to say that the Seikos come out of the factory very well regulated anyway. So you might find that you do get a decent regulated Cadisen straight out of the box. However, I wouldn't assume that because mine's coming in at minus 3.8 seconds a day, don't assume that every single one will. I might just be fortunate and lucky. I don't know. So one other decent thing to mention is the fact that this bracelet has solid end links, which is pretty surprising. You'd expect it to be hollow, really cheap and crappy tat. But no, it's not. So I thought it was worth mentioning that at the start with the specs. So anyway, that concludes discussing the specs. Let's have a look at the watch aspect by aspect. So first of all, with the dial. Nothing too extravagant about the dial. It's very classy, very sharp. It is a dress watch at the end of the day, and I think it does what it's set out to do very well. It's certainly not very imaginative. You know, I'm not looking at it thinking, wow, I really, really love the design. I'm looking at it thinking, yeah, it's a reasonable design. It is only $60, so it does a great job, you know, of being a pretty standard dress watch. So I think from that point, they're not trying to push any boundaries. They're just trying to deliver a solid, above average watch for a really, really cheap price. And I think from that point of view, you know, they're doing really well. These kind of hour markers, we see loads all over the gaff. So the 12, the X, II, and then the slightly raised, well, they're all applied indices, arrows for the rest of the hour markers. And they're all really nicely made as well. They're excuse me, they're fully polished, so they provide nice reflections as you look at the watch. You know, it's difficult to fault really for the price. And then the day-date window. If I just move the hour time out of the way, hour hand out of the way. The day-date window has a really nice little border around it as well. Again, impressive for the price. Nicely constructed as well. You know, we'll get the macro lens on later and have a look at it in closer detail. But, you know, it's nearly flawless. For the price, it's really remarkable. And then Dauphine pitched hands, which again are pitched and fully polished, as you can see in the reflection there. We have a nice variety of reflections based on the angle of the light. So really nice, you know, fine detailed print work as well. Just Cadisen at the top, automatic at the bottom. So really nice minimal bit of print work there. But again, it does it really well. Moving on to the case then. Quite a reasonably standard shape. We have a little bit of shapeliness to it, a bit of a bulbous kind of flow around the outside, as you can see, and we have a pleasant little dip around the polished bezel as well. So everything is polished. Every single square inch of this watch is polished, which is very, very bling, very shiny. Not my cup of tea. We'll obviously discuss the bracelet in a moment. So I think from a dress point of view, having the entire case polished is fine. However, it is a bit much having the entire bracelet polished as well. So personally, I think this case would look really nice on a really nice leather strap, black leather strap. Moving on to the crown, as you can see there, we've got a little star embossed on the end. Now, I can't really see any other reference to a star anywhere else. So it is a bit of unusual inclusion. I have you know, it gives you the seeking suspicion this might be a case made somewhere else for someone else and they've just nicked it. However, it's still a nice bit of design feature, and as you can see, it's not badly done either. Decent grip on the crown, really easy to use. I can hand wind it nicely as well, pull it out easily. The first step changes the date, go upwards for the day, and then downwards for the date to advance the date. Pull it out to the second spot for the time. So there we have it. Really nice and easy to use as well. Moving on to the case back. Again, nice and shapely, nice and bulbous. These are bits of information surrounding the outside and reasonably nicely engraved as well. And obviously we have a exhibition window for our movement, which shows it off very nicely. And I forgot to mention the sapphire crystal as well, sitting on top of the case. It is flat, so that does help, but I don't know if there is anti-reflective coating. I have a feeling it probably isn't. However, it does have really good clarity. As you can see, you know, from a variety of angles, very nice and clear. And you just get a really great view of the dial in itself in question. So very impressed for the price. Moving on to the bracelet then. Visually, I don't like it. It's way too bling for me. I don't understand why it is polished in its entirety. It certainly does make a statement, so I suppose it's got that going for it. However, if it was me, I'm going to take it off definitely and put a nice black leather strap on to match the black dial. However, you know, the build quality is actually reasonably good considering the price. I keep on saying this. We've got a nice hidden buckle as well, butterfly clasp, but hidden. We don't have like a top tang or anything like that. And as you can see, we have Cadisen and their little logo very lightly engraved on this section. Interestingly, this Cadisen is not quite centered. As you can see, it's slightly too far over to the left, and even the logo is slightly too far over to the right. So we do have that as a minor issue. However, that is very, very minor, and I personally would completely overlook that. I'm not that fussed about that for the price, keeping that in mind. So the actual bracelet in itself, as you can see, all the links are reasonably thick. As I mentioned, fully polished, so they will pick up a lot of scratches, and they look very, very blingy and quite brash as well. However, the actual feel of them, the finishing and the machining is pretty impressive. It was easy to resize as well. They got traditional pins in, but they weren't difficult to get out or anything like that, so I had a pretty easy time resizing the watch. Obviously, you don't have any half links or any micro adjustments, so you are limited to full links only. All right, so let's pop the macro lens on and have a look at it in closer detail. Okay, let's start off with the dial then. You can see there our print work on the logo, moving down, automatic, despite how fine the text is, nicely printed. Moving over to our, look at this date window first, you can see there the surround, the frame is very neatly done considering the price of the watch. And here we have our pitched arrows for the hour markers, our Roman numerals as well at 12, again pretty nice and neat up close. Here's our Dauphine hands, again you can see nice sharp lines, good reflective finishing as well, so pretty great. Even up close, the quality of this the dial. No rehaut as such, but we have a brushed inner there, you can see. Okay, let's look at the rest of the case then. So it's obviously fully polished, so here's the edging around the outside, a bit lumpy if you will, which keeps things a bit interesting, as you can see there. Again, fully polished, but all the lines seem to be pretty good. No major complaints really whatsoever. Flipping it over, here's the crown with our unusual star, but again, look at the depth of it. The quality is really good. Nice solid grip on it as well, so pretty easy to use. And then flipping it over, engraved details around the outside of the case back. Flip it over this side, we have Cadisen at the top, so at least they have a customized case back, and it's not just all out of the same factory as many other watches, if that is the case. But at least they have Cadisen on there. And then obviously we have the movement. So if I just get this up close, you can see there the Seiko NH36. Nothing too outstanding or unusual about that, just a pretty solid movement. There it is ticking away. Nice brushed, if I move that out of the way. Brushed bridges as well, so seems pretty you know, reasonably finished, and very good accuracy on that bad boy as well. Finally, moving on to the bracelet. If I give it a quick wipe, because it does pick up fingerprints like an absolute beast because it is fully polished. You can see there, fully polished, difficult to get focus on because it is so reflective, but the links, you know, nice and thick. Good quality as well. And moving on to the bracelet. Here we go. The buckle, should I say. very lightly engraved Cadisen, slightly off center on both of them, and the logo as well. And then we have a button on either side to open it up. Okay. So what do I think of the Cadisen C1032? I mean, to be completely honest, it's very difficult to knock it. The price, $60, 45 quid. Sapphire crystal, Seiko NH36 movement as well. And just general pretty decent build quality. It's really, really difficult to pick up any major faults that would stop me from suggesting or recommending you to buy it. The only thing I can think of really is the unimaginative design, and also just the bling bracelet as well. If you were to buy it, I personally would recommend putting it on a strap, just because the highly polished bracelet is a bit over the top for my liking. But the watch in itself is really, really well put together, really well constructed, great specs for the price. It's just a little bit bland, if you know what I mean. Nothing too outstanding about it. You know, nothing pushing the boundaries. So if you wanted just like a really reasonable dress watch for, you know, a few occasions, and you don't mind it being a little bit classic, plain looking, then you'd be tough to beat this for the price, because it is literally just such a huge amount of watch for the money. So yeah, I would recommend it if you can look past the plain looks. So this was the Cadisen C1032. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also comment your thoughts below as well. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.